Hello class, in this video we are going to talk about citation. Okay. Citation is usually something that most of us do not really pay attention to. Why? Because it is not part of the content and usually it is placed at the end, okay, of our work. So we do not really care for the writing of a citation. Okay, so that is one thing that we don't, we must not do it because citing other people's work is part of our appreciation of their work. Okay, let's start. First thing that you have to remember is when. When do you cite? When should I cite? Okay. We should ask this question, okay, when we think of an idea. Okay, and then ask yourself whether you come up with the idea, you yourself come up with the idea, or it's other people's. If you yourself come with the idea, well, you don't have to cite it, it's your idea. But if it is not from your mind, you have to ask again, is it a common knowledge? Is it something that everybody knows? If it does, okay, well, you don't have to cite it. Like, for example, the sun rises in the east. You don't have to cite it. Everybody knows it. But if it is not something like that, you have to cite it. Okay? It shows our credibility in doing scientific paper, and it shows our appreciation for other people's work. If we want to cite, we have to refer to a system. Okay, here in this subject, we refer to American Psychological Association, or we know it as APA system. So APA system is commonly used in social science writing format. Okay, and then in APA there are systems of in-text citation. In-text citation is your writing where you quote from other people's work, references, and other optional content footnotes. But we are going to talk only for these two, the in-text citation and references only. In-text citation is in the content of your writing. The references are the sources that you quoted in the in-text citation. Okay, when we have to quote, usually it is related to whether it is paraphrase or summary, or whether it's direct quotation. So only this. Okay, the direct quotation can be short or long. Usually the limit is 40 words. If it is less than 40, then it is short quotation. If it is long or more than 40 words, then it is long quotation. Okay, we come to the first one, the in-text citation. Okay, so when we want to quote from other people, there are things that you have to remember. Only the name and the publication, and the publication here is the year. Okay, so for example, like this, Lahiri, okay, 2002, and then if it is in direct quotation, okay, just last name and the year. If it is direct quotation, then you have to use quotation mark. Okay, quotation mark like this. Don't forget the quotation mark. And then if you use quotation mark, then we have to mention the last name, the year, and the page. Okay, remember, last name, year, and the page if you use direct quotation. If it is indirect quotation, just the last name and the year. Okay, you can put it together or you can separate it, you can make it into a separated part. For example, like this one for direct quotation. Okay, if I want to mention the name as part of in the flow of my writing, I will write it like this: Carlos 1996. Okay, in the brackets, and then what he said. Okay, and then the quotation. After that, I put the page at the end. Okay, but I can put it together, name, year, and the page. Okay, if I do not mention the name of carrot as part of my writing, okay, and not in the flow of my writing, so I make it into like this: a traumatic response frequently entails blah blah blah, and then carrot 1996, and then the page. It's okay. You can decide whether you want to make the name of the author part of your flow of writing or not. Okay, the most important thing is that for direct quotation you mention name, year, and the page, and don't forget the quotation mark. Okay, it can be separated like this or it can be together. For indirect quotation, the situation is the same. Okay, it can be together like this, puzzle, and then the year. Okay, and then you can also make the name as part of your writing. Okay. Like this. Yeah, it's the same. What about if it is quotation, direct quotation? Short and long quotation is different in writing form, okay, in writing format. If it is a short quotation, we just write first, for example, 2001, and then we state it. There is no indented block. We don't have to do it, okay? As long as we use double quotation mark. So it goes with the flow of your writing. Okay, you can also put it together like this. Okay, Fred 2001, and then the page. Okay, like before, like the example before. But if it is long quotation, okay, we have to make it into indented block. Okay, indented block, and it is written like this. Yeah, indented block. Remember, if we use the long quotation and it is written in indented block, no quotation mark. So quotation mark is only used for the short quotation. Okay, for long quotation, just indented block, no quotation mark. The writing of the source is the same like before. So we can mention the name, yeah, the last name, the year, and the page. If it is paraphrasing or indirect quotation, you just have to mention the author and the year. Okay, because you write it with your own words. It's different from direct quotation. If it is direct quotation, you use the words of the author. Okay, if it is indirect quotation or paraphrasing, you use your own words. Okay, you use your own words, but the message must be the same. Okay, you can make it as part of your flow of writing like before. So grade 2007, and then you mention, but you can also just mention the content and then you mention the last name in the brackets together with the year. Pay attention if there are more than one source, use the same information. So for example, here I have two or more sources with the same statement. Okay, that is from Purcell 2010 and Ryan, okay, 2011, mentioned the same thing. That is about the several cross-disciplinary studies address the issues. Here in this case, I can just quote for one time. Okay, quote for one time, and to separate the quotation from Purcell and Ryan, I use semicolon. Okay, pay attention to this. Okay, I use semicolon between Purcell and Ryan. Okay, so I just need to quote once, but I mentioned all of the sources. Okay, next is about abbreviation. You can use abbreviation, but first you have to mention the complete name. Yeah, mention the complete name. Write out the name. And then followed by the acronym. So we do not write the acronym first and then in the bracket we mention the abbreviation. No, that's the other way around. It's supposed to be the other way around. British Broadcasting Corporation and then in the bracket BBC. After that, you can use just BBC. Okay. Next, if we use secondary resources, what does it mean? Secondary resources is that the situation where we quote from someone and that someone quote from other people. Okay, that is what we call secondary referencing. Okay, so for example here I read the book of Carrie Ann Doyle in 2006. And Carrie Ann Doyle referred to the information mentioned by Smith, 2003. Okay, so usually here there is information by using a cited in. Okay, we mentioned the first source first. Smith, 2003, as cited in Carrie and Doyle, as mentioned. Which one that we read? Carrie and Doyle. We read this one, Carrie and Doyle. Carrie and Doyle quoted from Smith because Smith is older. Yeah, the source from Smith is older. Or we can make it together. Okay, if we do not want to use the name of Smith and Carrie and Doyle as part of our flow of writing. So we just mention the information and then in the bracket we say Smith, as okay, Smith 2003 cited in Doyle 2006. Okay, so there are options. You can just see which one fits better in your writing. Okay, next is the italicized. Okay, when should we use the italics? Okay, usually we italicize titles of books. Okay, titles of books, journals, and video. Okay, so for example, like this, the name of the journals or the name of the book. Yeah, okay, like this. Okay, capitalize. When should we capitalize? Capitalize only the first word after a colon and a proper noun. Remember, only the first word like this one. Okay, only the first word. Okay, only the first word. Now, what about this? Okay, click the professional knowledge in Australian. Okay, Australian here is not after colon. Okay, but this is proper name of a country. Of course, you have to use capital letters. Okay, so in journal title, we capitalize all major words in journal title. So this is a journal title. So we use the capital letters in all major words. Okay, all major words. And this one is proper name. But if it is books, chapters, articles, web page, capitalize only the first word of a title. Okay, like this one. Mental and nervous disorder. This is a book. Okay, book. So only the first word. After semicolon, again, one more. Okay, so remember, if it is a journal, okay, journal title, name of a journal, capitalize all the major words. If it is books, chapters, articles, web page, capitalize only the first word of a title. And subtitle, if there is any. Okay? If there is a colon, remember also to capitalize the first word. Okay? Remember this. Okay, next let's go to the references. If we talk about the reference, it should be listed in alphabetical order at the end of the essay. Okay, remember, alphabetical order. Okay, and reference is different from bibliography. In bibliography, we include sources even though it is not cited in our paper, but we acknowledge the information, okay, as it is influential in our study. Okay, but in reference it is different. We use only, or we list only the sources that we quote, only the one that is cited in our work. Yeah, all sources, okay, all sources that is quote, and usually it is written in double space with hanging indent for the second and the subsequent lines of each source. Okay, so the first what is it, the first line is longer, and then the second and the subsequent lines is indented. Okay, okay, I have the PDF file, okay, about this, and let's look at how we write the quotation. Okay, look at the file, okay, that I gave you. I refer to the DCU library guide for the APA referencing style guide. Okay, this should be your Bible in writing. Okay. Um, okay, actually what should be quoted, what information or what sources can be quoted, anything. Okay, it can be from books or book chapters. Okay, and then you have to pay attention whether the author is single, two, three to five, more than five, or with no author, ebook. Okay, edited book or anthology, and then even the information is introduction, preface, or forward. And then the periodicals, whether it's journals, e-journal, newspaper, magazine, newsletter, it should be quoted. And then the master thesis, doctoral dissertation can also be the source of what is it? Your quotation from information from conferences, symposia, meetings, websites, documents on the internet. Okay, okay, you can see it later on. Over this image on the internet, so we cannot just copy the sources from the internet without acknowledging the source. So you have to mention personal communication. Okay, it can be interview, email, or unpublished lecture. Okay, you just see it later on. Official publication. So for example, the official publication from the government or the law maybe, yeah, or a report or press releases, data statistics. Okay, audio visual media. So again, audio visual media can also be the source of your quotation. You can quote from film, radio, television program, television episodes, yeah, radio episodes for internet series, music recording, online video, podcast. Okay, even performance, play, or drama. If the source is needed to support our work in writing. Okay. I will not discuss all of them. You can read it, but I will mention just the major part. Okay. Okay, the first one may be for book and book chapters. Okay, if with the book with single author in text citation. So inside in our writing, we write it like this. Okay, so Bolton 2000 introduced the notion of matrix. Okay, and then in the references, we make it like this. Author, initial. Okay, remember initial, we do not mention the complete first name. Yeah, author, initial, year, full stop, year, title of work, location, publisher. So for example, Bolton. Okay, it is written in the text like this, Bolton 2000. Bolton, comma, A. Only the first name, only the initial of the first name. And then full stop, and then the year. Yeah. Managing the academic unit. Okay. And then only the first letter is being capitalized. Okay, full stop, the location or the city, and then the publisher. If there are two authors, okay, in text citation will be like this. In as demonstrated by Brian and Clark, okay, or in the brackets Brian and Clark 2006, blah blah blah, and then in our reference we mention author number one, okay, the last name of author number one, and then the initial, okay, and then author number two, last name of our author number two, and then the initial. Okay, so it is like this: Brian, comma, C, and we use ampersand. Okay, we do not write N, A-E-N-D. No, we use ampersand. Okay, here, use ampersand, and then K. Okay, full stop, 2000, and then we use the name of the book. We mentioned the title of the book, and then the location and the publisher. Okay, if there are 3 to 5, okay, usually we use et al. Okay, like this, et al. So Brown, Bull, and Sandalberry. Okay, 1997. Here in the in-text citation, you can use the word and. Okay, you can make it like this, or you can just put all the names in the bracket with the year. Okay, for the first time, we have to mention the names, all the last names of the authors. But in subsequent source, you can just use the last name of the first writer and then et al. Okay, et al like this. Okay, so you cannot just use et al at the first writing. Okay, first writing we have to mention the all of the last names. Okay, but after that we can just use et al. You can make it like this. We mention the name and then in the bracket the year, or the names together with the year in the brackets. Okay, so in the references it is written like this. Last name of the first author, and then initial, and then full stop, and then ampersand, and then comma, last name of the second author, and then the initial, full stop, comma, and ampersand. Okay, so before the last one, we use ampersand here. This is the ampersand, Pendlebury, and then comma, and then the first, the initial. The year, the others is the same. We mention the title with the first letter only for the first word. If it is more than 5, we can use et al starting from the beginning in the in-text citation. So directly stay in et al because it's more than 5 authors. Yeah. But in the reference, of course, we have to mention their names, all of their names. Okay, so you can check again with the sources that you quote. What about if there's no author? If there's no author, you can just mention the title of the book. Okay, title of the book and then the year. Okay, title of the book and then the year. You can mention the title as part of the writing, or the title of the book together with the year in the brackets. In the references, we use the entry, the entry. So for example, here the entry is taken from the definition. Here we talk about acoustic, the definition of acoustic. So the entry here is information about what? Okay, acoustic 1992 in. Okay, and then in the title or dictionary, and then we mention the location and the publisher. What about ebook? Okay, most of us use ebook as the source of information. Okay, and then we have to, in the in-text citation, we mention the name just like before. Okay, so it's the same. The difference is just in the references. Okay, in the references, we mention the last name and then the initial of the first name is the same. Title of the ebook, okay, it is also written, just like the printed book. Okay, the difference is here. We do not use location and the publisher. Instead, we mention the source. Okay, you mention the URL. Okay, URL. I mention the URL. Edited book is also the same. Yeah. Edited book means the book with editor. Yeah, the book with editor. So usually there are 2 names. The first name is the name of the author, and the next is the name of the editor. But the way you write it in the in-text citation is the same. The one that you quote is the author, not the editor. In the in-text citation, we use the name of the author. The name of the editor can only be seen in the references. Okay, so money, J, and then shipment, yeah, the same. And then editors, okay, editors. And then 1996, and then we mentioned the title of the book. Yeah, okay. This is chapters, okay, chapters in the edited book, okay, in the edited book. So, this is the one that I mentioned that there are two names. Okay, let's make it smaller. Okay, like this in the edited book or anthology. Okay, the one that we read is the writing of Poscat. Yeah, okay, Poscat. So we write Poscat here. Okay, the writer, the author is Poscat, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then the title of the title of the chapter. Okay, and then here we wrote in, yeah, in. So it means in the book that is titled Teaching and Learning Geography, and the editor is Tilbury and M. Williams. So again, compared to before, okay, yeah, here it is in the edited book, but usually in the edited book, the name of the editors right at the beginning. Usually in the what is it? First chapter they write it. So we use this one, okay, because the name of the author and the name of the editor is the same. But in the next chapter, usually the writers are different, so we use this one. So name of the author, in, yeah, in, and then you mention name of the editors, and then in the brackets EDS, and then the title, yeah. Here the first one is the title of the work, the title of the chapter written by Foscat, and the second one, the title of the book in which Tilbury and Williams become the editor. And then here we have to mention the page, yeah, the page. Okay, here it's different from before. We don't have to mention the page here, but in the chapters, yeah, if it is written by other people, we have to mention the chapter. So this chapter is from what page until what page, and then we mention the location and the source. Okay. Next, let's go to the periodicals. Okay, periodicals can be print journals, e-journal, newspaper, magazine, and newsletter. If it is journal, okay, we mentioned it a little bit before. Okay, in the in-text citation, we mentioned the author, again, only the last name, the year. Okay, it can be written like this as part of our writing, or just the information and the name and the year is in the brackets. But if it is in the references, okay, we write it author, okay, same like before. Writer, last name, initial, okay, and then the year, and then remember, title of the article. If it is title of the article, then only what is it? The first name, yeah, unless there are other informations like uh, uh, what is it? Common names, yeah, common names, or what is it? The after colon, okay, and then in the name of the journal, we use capital letters for the major words. Okay, remember, and it is written like this. There is no word such as volume, number, no. Okay, this is the volume, this is the number, this is the page. We don't have to write pp, for example, to indicate pages, no. Okay, this is the volume, this is the number. What about e-journal? It's the same. Okay, usually in e-journal they have DOI. Yeah. Okay, this is the same like the identity of the writing. Okay, so we can mention just like this: author, first author, second author if there is any, and then mention the year. Yeah, mention the year, and then the title just like before. Okay, if there is we use capital letters only at the beginning. Okay, and then in the name of the journal is capitalized in the major words, and then it is written like this: volume, number, pages, and then the okay, DOI. Okay, the DOI. And then if it is there, if there's no DOI, that is okay. But mention retrieve from. Yeah, retrieve from. Okay. What about newspaper? Yeah, newspaper can also be written like this. Okay. So in a newspaper, usually there is a newspaper title and then pages. Yeah. So for example, it is written like this. Remember, we have, because it is daily, we have to mention not only the year but also the date and the month. So for example, Finley, that is the writer. Finley or, and then in the brackets 2014 March 29. So remember, we write the title, the month, and the date. And then the title of the articles, okay, in the magazine or in the newspaper. Again, the capital letter is only the first word. Okay, and here is the name of the newspaper or the name of the magazine, and then P. See here, the page. Yeah, see here is the page. Okay, page 27. If it is online, then if it is online, we do not know the page. Yeah, that's why it's not necessary to write the page, but you have to write retrieve from. Okay. Next is master thesis and doctoral dissertations. Remember, you can only use master thesis and doctoral dissertation as part of the information, but you cannot use, okay, the scriptsheet. Yeah, thesis, scriptsheet, no. Okay. Now, the complete information can be seen here, okay, in the material. Okay, you can write it later on. So once again, check your proposal, and then see whether you have created correct way, the correct way to cite or not. If you haven't, please revise it. Okay. Okay, class. Until next week. Bye. See ya.